Hi, I'm Danny Ramos, and welcome to this week's edition of Hispanic Speak Out TV, brought to you every Tuesday night on Bright House Cable, Channel 49, 9:30 p.m. every Tuesday. I'm sure you already know, but the Hispanic Achievers license plate is out in all the DMVs. It commemorates the 500-year anniversary of Hispanics settling in Florida. Wow. That's like 250 years before George Washington stepped foot in America, or what was to be named America. Hispanics were already here. A little bit different than what most people think. A lot of people think Hispanics just got here. But the state of Florida, or the peninsula of Florida, was named by a Hispanic in 1513, and it's right here on the license plate, 1513, that Hispanics arrived in Florida. This license plate is available at all tag offices, and the proceeds of this license plate go to nonprofit organizations for scholarships for needy students. So be proud to be Hispanic, get yourself a license plate, put it on your car, display Hispanic pride, pick it up at DMV, okay? I'm here with James Auffuant, who's with a guest with us previously, and James is a guy who is very involved in the politics of Central Florida. He's an attorney. And he's the guy that we bring to this show when we want to know what's going on currently and all the little nooks and crannies of Central Florida. He's an Orange County committeeman, Democratic Party, and that's not to say that I'm a Democratic, but that's not to say I'm a Republican either. But welcome, Jimmy.
Welcome, thank you.
Do you like to be called Jimmy, or do you like to be called James?
Jamie, James. As long as you don't call me late for dinner, I'm okay.
So what's going on in politics now? You know, what is, I heard that Tony Ortiz has a Hispanic running against him, which is, she worked for UCF, Valadas?
That's correct. Well, he had a Hispanic running against him the last time. He ran against Belinda Ortiz, and that's when I made my great prediction that the next commissioner for the city of Orlando was going to be the last name of Ortiz. So, you know.
You had that one right, 100%,
I had it,
right?
100%.
Yeah.
Couldn't go wrong, I mean.
Well, Belinda was very close. It was a very close race.
Yes.
It was very close.
And now it's, I think it's going to be a close race again, because let's be honest, the city of Orlando, like most of the cities, their election is in March, and the turnout is practically non-existent. Only those who really want to go out to vote are going to go out to vote. So it's going to be a low turnout, and we'll see how that results. But it's a 45% Hispanic district, and we expect it to be a very close race. At this point, there's very little campaigning on both sides. They're just more or less moving around, but it's going to be an interesting race.
I heard that she resigned her position at UCF. She had a good job at UCF, and this week she resigned her position in order to dedicate herself full-time to knocking on doors. So Tony, she's very determined. She seems very determined to get that seat away from Tony Ortiz.
It appears to be that way. We will see this, because up to now we do not know. As we all know, Tony is a registered Republican, she's a registered Democrat, how the parties are going to get involved. I know they say it's a nonpartisan race. There's nothing such a thing as nonpartisan. Everything is partisan. We know that. I mean, so we have to see how the parties get involved and how the community is going to respond, because realistically, the turnout in District 2 has always been low. I mean, it was low when Betty Wyman was there. It was low when Mary Johnson was there. It's always been traditionally low. And having an election on March, we'll see how it works out. It used to be that you had more people because it was the same day than the primaries, but now the Republicans have screwed us over again, and they want to do it early and you know, and be the first and be before New Hampshire, and then get all our delegates disqualified. It's a mess. I mean, it's a complete mess. So we'll see how that's going to work out. We're going to have a primaries in early February. Then we're going to have city elections in March. Then you're going to have primaries in August, and it's going to be a mess.
What are the hot races that are coming down the pike locally?
Well, let's get a couple of them. Realistically, we have not seen what's going to happen in District 3 in Orange County. That's an Hispanic district, and we do not know. The other ones that are, I would say, in standby is everybody's waiting to see what happens with redistricting. If we get a congressional district with Orange and Osceola County together, then you have John Q. who says he's going to run for that seat. Then you might have Darren Soto saying that he's going to run for Congress. Then you might have other people jumping into that seat. Then there's also a possibility that we end up with a Hispanic Senate district. If that happens, then you might have John Q. running for that, and you might have Darren Soto. So depending what comes out.
You're talking about state Senate.
State Senate, correct. That you might have that. Strangely, the one that everybody was going to be hot was Bill Nelson. but our surveys tell us that 45% of the Republicans in the state are going to vote for Bill Nelson. So he's in.
He's in before the election.
He's in before the election because Democrats are going to vote for him. So he's in, and independents. So Bill is more secure, even though they've been throwing all that money against him. And that's why they're trying to take it out of the state, take it to another state, because they realize they can't beat him. So, but the other thing is going to be school board in Orange and Osceola County. There's a good chance that in Orange County you could end up with a Hispanic district, but that Hispanic district will not be up for election in 2014. So that one is going to stay as put. You could have new redistricting in Osceola County, and there might be some seats. And I don't know if you're aware, in Osceola County is a big input to take out Mr. Weiler because of his comments and things that he's done, and we might have an Hispanic to run against him. So I'll bring you his name and information at a later date.
We have a lot of Hispanics that want to be and they want to get in, but for some reason, is it the Democratic Republican thing that really prevents Hispanics from moving forward? So they fight against each other, like Tony and Vlades. They're fighting against each other rather than her finding a district against a non-Hispanic.
Well, basically, we need to change our mentality. We have the mentality that we cannot win unless it's an Hispanic district. And to a certain degree, it's true. I mean, I would never say to an Hispanic, go and run in Winter Park, because it ain't going to happen. I would never tell an Hispanic, go run in Pine Hills, because that's not their district. So we understand that. So when the city creates only one district, then you're going to run one against the other because there's nothing else within the city. Osceola County supposedly now is going to have 3 districts that are going to be 40% and above Hispanic. Let's see how many people are going to run for the county commission there. There's 2 that we know of right now, and there's a 3rd contemplating. So that might be increasing. The thing that I think is kind of interesting is areas like Kissimmee, where 52% of the people are Puerto Rican, Hispanics, yet the mayor and the majority of the board is not. So there you go and say, get me a candidate. Well, we know the history of Kissimmee and how it's not gone that well. So it's a matter of getting qualified candidates who are fully committed and could go out. You know, right now we have District 3, which is going to go to trial next month, Mildred, and we have no Hispanics saying, I'm running for this district. And, you know, to my surprise, I love Louis Diamani, don't misunderstand, but I'm surprised that we're talking about an Hispanic district in which we have nobody saying, I'm going to run for it. So I don't think it's Democrat, Republicans. It's a matter of people taking on the responsibility to say, I'm going to run, I want to run, and I'm not afraid to run. There are a lot of people out there who are qualified, who don't want to run. And I could tell you about 4 right now. Tico Perez has no interest, extremely qualified. He has no interest in running.
And why do you think that is? He ran for mayor, he lost, but why do you think he's bailed out of the political arena, really?
I would not say he's bailed out. He's making a good living off the political arena.
Influencing or journalistically or whatever, but he's not running for office.
There's more money to be made as a lobbyist or as a person of influence or getting contacts with people than there is to be a politician. Look, I'm here tonight talking my head off. If I decide to run for Congress, like a lot of people are trying to push me to, I would be very cautious of what I'm saying because I don't want to be quoted or misquoted. I love the freedom that I have right now. I mean, honestly, I don't care. I'm going to say what I am. Like I've always said, I'm Puerto Rican because God made me Puerto Rican, but I'm a Democrat because I choose to be a Democrat. I could tomorrow say, I don't want to be a Democrat. I am here to help my people. And that is where there's a difference. A lot of people are afraid to run because then they have to be politically correct. Look, believe it or not, within the Republican Party, Tico, when he ran for mayor, he was lobbied Hispanic. And many people within his party gave him their back. As a matter of fact, there was more Republicans backing Buddy Dyer in that race than there were Tico Perez. Explain that one to me. We have to understand that other dynamic. You know, we understand that our parties, when push comes to shove, they're not pro-Hispanic. They're not.
You're talking about the Democratic Party
and the Republican Party.
They're not pro. Are they anti-Hispanic?
No.
Pro?
No. Okay. I'm not saying they're anti, but when push comes to
being pro or anti, I mean, if they're not pro, that means that they make no effort.
That's
if
exactly.
They're anti, that means they make no effort. Or
No.
they make
No.
Go beyond making no effort and do make an effort.
And make an effort against you. Look, I'll be honest with you. My party, if you want to run, you have to raise your own funds. You have to get your own campaign manager and do things on your own. My party, unless it's a state race, they're not going to get involved. They don't have the finances. Now, the reverse of, I could tell you that the Republican Party will tell you, we're going to help you out, and we're going to do things for you, but when a push comes to shove, they're not going to vote for you. Look, Rick Scott made a name here. His first thing was that McClellan was too soft on immigration. If I'm elected, I'm going to be tough on immigration. Well, guess what? One of the first things he wanted was an Arizona law. And you don't even know who killed it. You thought it was us? It was the Florida Chamber of Commerce. Spent $2 million on TV. They went on TV, and they went and told everybody in the House and Senate, if you vote for this, we're not going to give you any money for your re-election. And they backed off. Why? Because the Florida Chamber of Commerce, the people in agriculture who are half of the members of the Florida Chamber of Commerce, said, you must kill this project. Why? Because if you throw out the $1.5 million of illegal people here, your cow industry, your milk industry, your citrus industry, all will be on the floor in a matter of days.
Why?
Because they count on cheap labor. Do you really think...
Are you saying cheap labor, which is minimum wage, or are you saying below minimum wage?
Below minimum wage.
Okay. So you're saying the Chamber of Commerce, which Chamber of Commerce?
The Florida Chamber of Commerce.
Okay, the Florida Chamber of Commerce lobbied against passing the immigration bill to allow immigrants to have some kind of legal status here because the Chamber of Commerce wanted to maintain below legal payment for immigrants.
Well, let me clarify. What they were trying to kill was the Arizona law, which was anti-Hispanic and would have kicked out people and was requiring that they would have to call to verify that they were legal in this country. Okay? Which is a federal law, by the way, which nobody complies with it, but they were going to pass that and giving the right to sheriffs in every county to stop people and question about their legal status in this country. You look Hispanic to me, prove to me that you're here legally. That was the Arizona law. That the chamber wanted to kill because it realized two things. First of all, even as bad as the economy is, there's no people going into the citrus industry or going into the cow pasture in Okeechobee say, I'm here to take care of the cows, I'm going to collect everything that you're going to collect and do whatever it takes, pay me that. Now, let's be honest. The laws of the state of Florida exempt agriculture from the minimum wage. And supposedly you are paid by the piece. In other words, you collect for every 1,000 oranges you collect, you're paid a fee for that. So you are not paid on an hourly basis. So the federal minimum wage exempts agriculture. Most people don't know that. They think that it does. That's why the majority of the illegals are there, because there are no requirements. They are seasonal. Since they are seasonal, there is no need for them to do other things that they have to do. So realistically, the chamber killed it because it would have affected their industry, and that's why they did it. Not that they love us, they just killed it because it would affect their way of making a living.
And now we go back to the situation where illegal immigrants are here, they don't pay taxes, or they don't pay taxes, certain taxes, because they do pay sales tax when they buy things, indirectly.
Well, you know, I've always heard that myth. And let me clarify two things. The only two taxes we pay in the state are property taxes and sales taxes. There is no other, unless you're...
So they're paying sales taxes, and if they have property, well, it's a little difficult for them to have property, though.
No, let me clarify. I own I have 4 condos that I rent out, and when I calculated how much you're going to pay for my rent, I include the taxes.
Of course.
So my tenants are already paying the tax. I'm not paying it. Right. So when we say to the people, they don't pay taxes, that's not true. They do. They pay just like us, the same amount. And I'm going to say something else that most people don't know. You can call the IRS. They will give you a number, even if you're here illegally. They will give you a number. You can file your taxes. You will not get a refund, but you could use that as proof that you have been here in good standing. So in case there's another amnesty, you can use that as proof. And according to the IRS, illegal immigrants in this country, people who pay taxes without a Social Security number, they don't have a Social Security number, they have a IRS ID, pay close to $12 billion a year. So when people say they don't pay taxes, it's more of a rhetoric. Let me repeat this, because some moron said this, and I'm going to say it even though I don't know if it's true, but the truth is they pay taxes. They pay the same sales taxes. They don't go into one and say, hey, I'm here illegally. You cannot charge me sales tax. They pay it. And when they rent a place, they're paying their taxes. When they buy a car, they do that. What has happened is they've learned how to adapt the American way. I had a client this morning who has 12 cars. And you're going to say, what do you want 12 cars? She doesn't. She has one. She has 11 cousins who are Mexican like her. She's the only one who has papers, so the cars aren't in her name. You know, they adapt. I mean, I had one the other day that I said, madam, you own this business. No, I don't. It's in your name. I'm legal in this country. That's my cousin. He installs carpets. It's in my name, but it's his business. So they have learned to adapt. So, you know, who's hurting is us. Look, when we took away their licenses after 2001, because prior to 2001, you could be here illegal and you would have a right to a driver's license. We were collecting $500 million from these people for their licenses. Everybody had insurance. Car insurance was much cheaper because everybody had insurance. Now, we decided that they're a major risk. They're going to kill us. They're going to do a 9/11 thing. We took away their driver's license. So we lost $500 million that we collect from there. But not only that, since they cannot legally operate a car, which they are, they just don't have car insurance on. So we're all paying for that. So, you know, you want to collect some money and make it easier on everybody, give them their licenses back. You collect $500 million, which you can use for education or whatever you want, and at the same time, you would decrease my insurance policy. The problem is that, look, lately in this country, politics, the teachers are evil. We took away their tenure. Why? Did we lose that much money? No. What has a teacher done to us? No, but now they cannot have tenure. Why not? You decide that we're going to take away their part of their pension, that we're going to make them pay for 3% of their pension. Why? I don't know, but I can tell you one thing. I know 2 college professors who are leaving this area because they see no future. They're taking away from them. They're not giving them salary increases. They're not the commitment to education.
But isn't that part of the bad economy?
No.
No, the government cutting of pensions, like they did in New Jersey. The governor of New Jersey cut back across the board on pensions, on state pensions. Isn't that part of the bad times we're in?
No. That's part of the stupidity that we're in. Look, I'm going to be very honest. Let's I can raise for you $2 billion tonight. First, give the license back to the Mexicans and to the illegals. You would collect $500 million. If you tax water bottles, and believe me, it was not exempt because it's healthier, because orange juice and water have a very strong lobby in here, and they're not taxed the bottled water. You tax those two, that's another $500 million. You tax people who do deep sea fishing, that's $30 million. You tax the people who go to the arena.
What you're basically saying is that we're in a mess of special interests and lobbyists that are sucking the company dry.
Exactly. Look,
and buying every politician that they can buy, and every politician can be bought. That's what you're basically saying.
Correct. And I hate to say that is the problem. It's not that it's the bad economy. It is really right now, it is the fact that we are not administering our funds correctly. We could be raising it, and I'm not talking about you doing that. I'll go a step further. Look, we have the lowest taxes in the country. Other than Mississippi, Alabama, West Virginia, we are the lowest in this country. Our governor tells us, hey, we're going to lower taxes, we're going to cut regulations, and industries are going to come here. We've been saying that for years. We've been doing that for years. They still don't come here. The highest tax states, California, Massachusetts, they're there. Go figure. You know, it's a matter of administration, and the administration of this state has been going down, and people have very little faith in it. You know, right now, if you want to open a charter school, they give you more money per student for a charter school than for a regular school. Uh-huh. You're talking about a charter school where the teachers are not certified and they don't have to take an FCAT, but they're better schools, even though there's no testing, than our regular schools. Look, how can you tell me that you are going to cut funds for education? I'm sorry. Do you realize we spend in the state more to keep the jails than we do for education?
I think we're number 17 in the world as far as education goes, in engineers and in certain other categories.
Yes. And and that's the mentality that as much as we talk that Puerto Rico is a third world country, okay. Let me put it this way: on its constitution, a third of the budget must go to education.
In the Constitution for Puerto Rico.
In the Constitution for Puerto Rico, you have the casinos, and people talk about it. Every dollar that's collected, taxes for the casinos, goes directly to the colleges. And trust me when I say this: in Puerto Rico, more people graduate from college per capita than here. Okay? One of the top 100 universities in the country is not University of Florida, nor my Florida State. It is the University of Puerto Rico. People don't know that. And people still think that it's a matter of how that it's tough times. That's what they've been selling us. Look, I would like to see some legislators come up with some solutions. I know times are difficult. You and I have had to do different things. I had to open an office in Puerto Rico to handle Social Security, to make ends meet. Why can't my government be that smart and say, well, let me tax bottled water, let me tax the sky things, let me tax other things that can do, and I'm not saying tax them, they're tax exempt. This is the problem I have. It's not that we're going to give them an additional tax, but if you buy a bottle of water, you don't pay taxes. You buy a Coke, you pay taxes. You buy orange juice, you don't pay taxes. You buy cranberry juice, you pay taxes. You buy iced tea, you pay taxes. Why was water exempt? Lobbyists. Pure and that. They would say, oh, it's healthier for you. Nah, lobbyists. That is the problem that we have. Disney has exemptions to the kazoo.
So you're saying that our entire problem is the Congress of the United States?
And the House and the Senate, yeah. And the lobbyists who went out to buy the government.
Is that because they allow themselves to accept money from lobbyists, or is it because Congress has become obsolete in the times that we are? It's the same style of government that was 200 years ago, and now we pick up our phones and we can communicate, and we can't get a bill passed. We can't prevent this country from getting a downgrading because these guys can't get together on a vote.
That's correct.
So is Congress obsolete?
I don't think Congress is obsolete. I think what is obsolete is us. We criticize every other congressman, but ours we keep. We criticize the system, and we don't put a demand. We are as divided as our Congress. We have a Tea Party who's telling us cut, 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 cut. And it's a fact of life. You could cut the whole budget and just leave defense, Social Security, and Medicare, those three things, and we still have an unbalanced budget. Why? Because we spend too much on defense, with a country, we spend too much on Medicare and Social Security. The way it was regulated supposed to be, if you rekept that money for Social Security, there would be no problem. But you take money from Social Security to pay for this, you take money from Social Security to pay for that, because we don't want to increase taxes, because that is something evil. Look, we're the lowest country in taxes in the world. We are. People don't pay taxes. We have a code that, anybody could find a way to pay the least amount of taxes. Our national hobby is, hey, how can I screw my government and pay less taxes? That's our hobby. It is. It's been for years. So why do we want to pretend that we're something else? We're not. We are what we are. So people, you want to change things, you need to change your attitude and focus, say, this is my country, and if I had to pay for a proper education, I will pay for it. I don't want to be 17th anymore. But I cannot say I want to be 17th, but I don't want to pay for it. From heaven, the only thing that falls is rain.
One of the richest men in the world came out and said that his group of people, and it was Warren
Buffett.
Warren Buffett, he said, I am a billionaire, and me and my group do not pay their fair share in taxes.
And he admits it, and they know it, and they're proud of it. And
Well, that's part of the game, isn't it?
yeah,
It's part of the game.
And you have a Congress right now that voted to keep the tax exemptions from Bush, which is to the richest upper class. And and you just can't figure it out because realistically, the middle class doesn't have that same benefit.
The game is, if you don't cut those taxes for rich people, what happens is they take that money and reinvest it into the economy. But I don't believe that. Look, I don't believe that because I think they just bank it.
Well, that's what
They'll
Reagan.
take part of it, to run their businesses, but they bank the rest.
Look, it's a combination of things that we want to say, but that was, if you want to talk about obsolete, that was an idea that Reagan had in the 80s and early 90s, and it didn't work back then. It doesn't work now. It doesn't trickle down. But you have other combinations. Look, right now, I hate to say this, but I used to have 2 secretaries, and I only have 1 now. Why? Because with Microsoft, I have taken away one of them because basically everything is in there, and right now she's answering the phones and she's doing certain things, but you have forms in there that basically there's form letters, there's form. In the past you had typewriters. Those of us who remember what typewriter was, times have changed. Yes, the economy has changed, but the reality is we have been administrating ourselves wrong.
What about the jobs going overseas because major corporations are trying to keep the profit margins every quarter, and what they're doing is, in order to prop up those, they send jobs overseas, so they pay somebody $2 instead of $10 an hour.
Well, because
most of our major corporations are you pick up, you call a banking service department at Capital One, or you call Citicorp, and you're calling Pakistan, you're calling India,
yeah,
for service. So what about that? What about that role of allowing those corporations to go over there and
you see,
transfer the jobs out?
In my opinion, we don't have a Congress, we don't have a Senate. We have corporations controlling. There's a tax exemption in the code that says that if you do that, you could get away with it. And Congress is allowing this, and it's killing us. And not only is it killing us in that aspect.
Okay, so I hear what you're saying is that Congress is being bought by lobbyists.
Oh, yeah.
So every congressman who can grab money, and they can only accept a certain amount of money, but they accept. I mean, Nancy Pelosi as a Democrat and John Boehner as a Republican, they all accept millions of dollars.
Correct.
Through the lobbying system into political PACs, right?
Correct.
And that's the way they do it?
And the political PACs are unlimited. And now that U.S. Supreme Court said that anybody can put money into it and do whatever they want, it's unlimited. Look, you have right now, there is a campaign against Bill Nelson, and it's from a PAC. It's not from either one party or the other. Not only that, you have other things of influence that you have to understand. There are other people, what they do is they can go in and say, we're going to give $2 million to this PAC, and this PAC is going to run advertisements against you. They're getting scared.
They get scared and they back down in their moral and ethical commitments.
Yeah, and then they lie to us.
That means we're running out of time, man. It was really good. Listen, that was great conversation. And I'm going to go back to the plate. Don't forget to get your Hispanic Achievers license plate celebrating the commemoration of 500 years that Hispanics have landed in Florida. Okay, this plate is down at all your tag offices. Proceeds from the plate go to scholarships and other nonprofit organizations that provide services throughout the state of Florida. And it's a pride issue. We're coming up to the 500-year anniversary, and this is the commemorative plate for that anniversary. Orgullo de Ser Hispano, get your plate. Also, we are on Bright House Cable every Tuesday night at 9:30 p.m. You can find out more about Hispanic Achievers on www.hispanicachievers.org. www.hispanicachievers.org. And don't forget, we no longer control Congress. It's all the lobbyists, right, Jimmy?
Correct.
And they bought Congress lock, stock, and barrel.
A long time ago.
A long time ago. So the reality is that we don't have much to say, or we think we have a lot to say, but we really don't, because we're not carrying that little black bag of money.
Basically that and the part of influence. Look, they have made the districts to their advantage, and everything is to their advantage. Right now, if you leave Florida the way it is, you don't redistrict it, there's no way anything but a Republican will win. Okay. We're out of time now, and this is Danny Ramos on Hispanic Speak Out TV. We will see you next Tuesday night, where we are going to have exotic dancers being interviewed on their lifestyle. We'll see you next week. I think that's almost parallel to politicians, don't you? We'll see you next week, Tuesday night at 9:30 p.m.